Hey, my name is PolishLynx and welcome to some more Days irae. For me it's 27 minutes past 3 AM. So yeah, I've been lazing around until that time. I could have been recording for 3.5 hours already. Well, anyway, Sakurai and I made our way across the plaza in front of the tower all the way over to the nearby Sawara bridge. She was the one who led me here, for I was trying to avoid being separated from Shiro. She cunningly lured me to this place without me even realizing what she was up to. I gritted my teeth in frustration, knowing it was too late.
Shiro...
Would that idiot be alright? I'd seen with my own eyes that his confidence was not misplaced, but didn't mean he could beat Wilhelm. I'd hoped he would try and escape, but I also knew irritatingly well that he was not that kind of guy.
落ち着きがないのね、相変わらず。
And she heaved a sigh like this was someone else's problem, despite her being the very person making me this flustered. I'll try not to hate on her, to be honest. I tend to do that with some characters, right? I mean, Sunrider, Chigara. For I still can't not hate her, kind of. Maybe in here it will be different.
別に他意があったわけじゃないわよ。ただ私が戦ってるベイに近寄りたくなかっただけ。
Oh.
まあ、それであなたの友達がどうなるかは知らないけど。一応、もう一度だけ聞くわね、藤井君。おとなしくついてくる気ある？
No.
そう。
Her lips formed a faint smile as she gathered downward from my expression.
じゃあ始めようか。
Hey. She then launched at me without even waiting for me to reply. Shit, that was fast.
さっきは手加減していたの。
Yeah. Her leg slid gracefully on the ground. Rising upwards to the kick to my solar plexus. I crossed my arms to block the attack, only to end up being plunged into the air. A strike from her right fist soon followed, leaving me with no time to recover. It hit me dead on, knocking me away.
頑丈。
God damn it, this was the first time a girl had ever punched me this hard. Some guys might have been into that, but I sure as hell wasn't. Same.
つうか、女のパンチじゃねえよ。
Well, it's 21st century, so you never know. She did an absolute number on my chin. Hell, her punch felt strong enough to tear through iron plating. She was one of them, no doubt about it. She had enough power to kill people with ease, and had no qualms about using it.
女と殴り合うのは主義に反する？
いや。
Besides, I'm not grouping you together with normal girls anyway.
じゃあかかってきなさいよ。私、男の人のプライドを折るのはあまり好きじゃないけれど。あなたはちょっといじめたいわね。
And she charged at me again, dropping her elbow towards my stomach. She then grabbed my sleeve and lifted me up, performing a shoulder throw. The blow on my back left me choking for air as I grew dizzy from smashing the back of my head. My vision grew dark, but I still made out. I twisted my neck and dashed right before she could crush my face with her boot. The asphalt cracked with a dull sound as the impact once again sent my body flying. Sakurai caught me and hurled me aside. You'd realize her movements are predictable. I mean, it was said before. She basically fights based on well, normal freaking martial arts, right? Can it be predictable then? I guess so. I mean, she's acting according to a book, so maybe. I don't even know anything about martial arts. While trying to endure the violent pain caused by crushing the bridge's steel frame, I recalled something Sakurai had once said. You can hardly ever even consider something of this caliber pain, right? Pain signaled that one's body was in danger. My arm might have been in good shape after being driven to the concrete, but the intense pain I felt was clear proof that Sakurai Stark posed a deadly threat. Right. She was a lethal weapon. It could kill people. Just like back then. Just like him. An abnormality, the existence of which warps the very fabric of common sense.
そうだよな。
Sakurai glided towards me in pursuit. Her speed and strength were both staggering, terrifyingly so. But so were mine. How on earth could she do all this without hesitation?
喧嘩が強くて誇らしいか、桜井。
I grabbed her fist mid-punch.
殺し合いに長けているのが自慢か、お前。こんなもん、何が楽しいんだ、お前らは。
I was scared in pain and about to throw up. Did they get a kick out of reducing someone to this state? They themselves would never want to be in? Did that make them feel alive or what? Bullshit!
その気になった？
いやおうないだろ。
She had always been difficult to deal with, in more ways than one, and the fact I kept meeting her under these circumstances only amplified it. Still, I'd never once lost sight of my initial goal. I remembered the rage that shook my body that night. I'd forgotten the vow I took. I'd teach those bastards a lesson for laying waste to our everyday lives, no matter the cost.
学校が好きとか言ってたな。
I recalled her saying she went to the teen school some more.
残念。無理だ、諦めろ。二度とお前はあそこに行けない。
あら、どうして？
A hint of amusement slipped into Sakura's tone, her arm still being locked in place by my hand. With my gaze a clear reflection of my burning determination and the strength in my hand trying to crush her very bones, I went on, and put myself into words.
死ぬからだ。
And with that I pulled on her arm with all my might, flinging her behind me. My throw shot her right through the fence and up into the night sky. Even found myself surprised by the ridiculous strength behind the move, but now was not the time to rack my brains over it. What I was, what I could do, and what I meant to accomplish. I'd have all the time in the world to worry over moral and ethical bullshit once this was over. For now, I'd keep myself focused on the situation at hand. In other words, I didn't care if I turned into an irredeemable piece of shit like these assholes. If I could have one wish, it would be for Kasumi and Himura to never learn about this. About what I had become. Ah, fuck. God damn it. I'd turned into a bona fide lowlife myself. I dashed through the hole, separating the fence, and gave myself to the air. The surface of the water was about 20 meters directly below me, and I couldn't move my body midair like she did. She on the other hand managed to turn around midair with little to no effort, going as far as to deliver a kick towards me without any sort of foothold. What the hell kind of executive wave shooting technique did she use?
さすが。
Arrogant bitch! Thank you! Exactly my thoughts! We exchanged kicks and punches while falling, and as much as it pained me to admit, her think was far surpassed me. Well, but you know, street fighting, right? So, but that said,
すごい。やっぱり伊達じゃない。あなたこそが藤井君。
I don't like her. I still don't like her. I just can't stop. Over the deafening howl of the wind during our rapid descent, I could make out hints of passion, admiration, and excitement in her voice. I had no idea what she was so happy about, but we'd be hitting in the water in just a few moments.
あなたこそが私たちの恋人。
No, thank you. Not interested. Sakurai aimed a kick from above at the back of my head while making a comment I couldn't possibly ignore. I blocked in the nick of time, but ended up crashing the waves below, sending a ground column of water shooting up into the air. Grating my teeth at my embarrassing evade, I immediately got up and surveyed the surroundings. Where did she land?
すごいわ。本当に信じられない。
She was the one I couldn't believe.
たった数日でこんなにも自分がとんでもない無能に思えてくる。
She was standing atop the water. Her words may have been oddly self-deriding, but her skill was certainly genuine. A girl, and one roughly around my age no less, who managed to go 2-2 with a bunch of war-crazed veterans of over 60 years. Was this how the so-called prodigies were?
天才ね。
Okay, can you stop reading his mind? She was making a lick of sense to me, as usual.
私が今のあなたくらいのものになるまで何人殺して何年かけてきたか知らないでしょう。言ってもわからないんでしょうね、きっと。
Actually, here is my theory. You were taking lives of... Oh my god, what I'm about to say is really wrong. But she was basically taking lives of... I'm really sorry. Of worthless people. So basically, in terms of leveling up, right? In terms of games, basically the souls that she devoured gave her not really much experience points, and that's why she's not leveling up nicely, or something like that. Well, maybe you don't really need to devour souls. I mean, on the other hand, we probably have devoured souls even before that because of the guillotine. So these souls belong to Mari, kind of, and now they belong to us.
なんだか少しベイたちの気持ちも分かってきた。あなた、とても腹が立つわ。
Okay, can you... Okay, I know who Bei is, but you really should use one name for all the people. I mean, one person, because it can be a little bit problematic to remember that stuff. I mean, there are 13 of you in the end, and if we will know like one name and freaking nickname and I don't know what else, it will be impossible to remember all that. Kind of. And every time I could feel my breathing growing ragged. Outside an overwhelming wave of pressure that made my body feel like it was about to sink. Yet on a completely different level, I also generally felt something akin to a lack of oxygen.
喧嘩が強くて誇らしいかって言ったわね。
No.
ええ、誇らしいわよ。だって私にはそれしかないもの。
What if he was mocking you? Sakurai's smile appeared faint, weak, and somewhat unstable. She had always spouted her nonsense with that composed look of hers, but could it all have been no more than mask, a charade, on her part? Of course.
あなたみたいに血が嫌いで、大事な人もそばにいて、ついて好かれて、幸せね。私みたいなのを糾弾してればさぞかし英雄気分でしょうよ。そうやって、かっこいい自分に酔ってればいい。私が現実を教えてあげる。
We'll see about that. She cast her gaze downward ever so slightly, her shoulders trembling from laughter. Virtually, oh my god, like her freaking terrifying laughter. I mean, maybe not terrifying, but really terrible to listen to. Her shoulders trembling from laughter, with a chilling smile still on her lips. She hurled her naked, exposed feelings at me. Please no.
バカらしいわ。あなた死んでよ。
Nope.
ここならスワスチカも近い。首を持って行ってあげる。
Good luck. At first, I didn't immediately understand what had just happened. But I was once again staring at the empty air, with the surface of the water far below me.
水蒸気爆発
Part of the sea was boiling, emitting waves of hot steam. The place I'd been standing at had turned to the pits of the hell in an instant. Impossible! How in the world could she generate that much heat in a split second?
言ったでしょ。睨んで燃やせる敵がいたらどうするのって。
That's fucking cheating. Her words cleared my doubts in an instant.
隠れて後ろから殴ればいい？無理よ。私そんなに鈍くないもの。
Yes, you are. The source of the inferno was Sakurai herself, capable of generating staggering levels of heat out of seemingly nowhere. Actually, not quite. I knew the source.
それが
I looked down from above.
ええ、これが
She met my gaze from below.
私の生異物。
Wasn't that obvious? Maybe after she did the explosion stuff? Wow. Your sword sucks. Sakurai could condense the heat, mold it into form, and wield it as weapon. A true embodiment of raging flames. A sort of blazing scarlet, symphonic oxygen from the very air around it. No wonder I couldn't breathe earlier. It appeared I had seriously pissed her off somehow.
俺も言ったろう。お前の都合なんか知ったことかよ。
Exactly. I couldn't stand her, and the feeling appeared to be mutual. I may have been overly obsessed with my peaceful life, but that didn't mean a bunch of war-crazed assholes had tried to complain about it.
ほらそうよ。そうやって結局あなたも私と一緒。
Except we are not Nazis.
自分だけが一発に愛と正義のヒーローだなんて思い上がるな。世界はそんなに単純じゃない。
She met my descent through the air with an upward swing of her blade, which I blocked with my right arm. I didn't hear the sound of tearing flesh and bone, only the metallic clank of two blades clashing against one another.
それが何よりの証拠。
No, it's not. We both found ourselves propelled backwards. My right arm began to shake in response to her blow blast. My craving to behead my foes materializing as a blade dark as midnight, forged for the sole purpose of decapitation.
あなた戦いが好きでしょ。実は血に酔えるでしょ。でないと到底そんなもの形になんかできるはずない。
Okay, that's what you think. That's not really... That might not really be true. If you think about it. I mean, you say it's thirst for blood, but it might just be the will to protect what's precious to him. I had just seen about enough of her. I know, right?
わけわかんねえこと言ってんじゃねえ!
The moment I uttered those words, I kicked off the surface of the water. There was no special trick behind it or anything of the sort. I simply kicked off the water before my legs could sink. It was, in a sense, or rather with absolute certainty, a feat of strength more overbearing than magic. However, having powers that allowed me to justify any kind of over-the-top, nonsensical fate had long since made me discard all semblance of common sense. I still believe I could do it. A combination of my strong will and firm self-confidence gave me the impetus. I need to unleash that immense power without having anyone teach me how. I could feel my very own fighting spirit tempered by Sakurai's hostility, making me concentrate every fiber of my being on emerging victorious. Dashing across the surface of the water parallel to me, Sakurai launched a series of slashes unnerving in terms of speed, yet quite easy to predict at the same time. I told you, her fighting is predictable. I begged for her for the stoic type, but she seemed to have about as short a fuse as Kasumi, making her both reckless and stubborn to a fault. What was I to do next? I should have gotten used to luring quick-tempered people into traps. How would I go about angering her further, and what would I need to prioritize to achieve that? My words, conduct, something else entirely. We'd interacted several times before, so there had to be hint in there somewhere. I just had to remember it. Countless memories and feelings welled up within me, forming a whirlwind jumble of a mess in my mind. Even after racking my brain for what felt like an eternity, I couldn't for the life of me come up with a sound enough idea to base my strategy around. All in the above was more violent pulses, accompanied by thirst aging to be quenched. Why couldn't I come up with something when I needed it the most? Damn it, I couldn't think straight. Snickering, she dodged my attack with little to no effort before finally speaking up again.
無理よ。だってあなたそういうタイプみたいだから。さすがにいきなりそこまでどうにかできるほどじゃないのね。よかった。
I didn't get it. Even for her words suggested my brain couldn't comprehend the deeper meaning behind them. All I knew was that my attacks weren't getting through to her at all. Wait, hold on. Had my attacks been too dull and predictable compared to hers? Okay, you just said hers were predictable as well.
よほどうまく飼いならすか、それとも手綱ごと手放すか。あなたたちはそうしないとすごく半端よ。
Sakurai's attack pattern underwent an abrupt, instantaneous change. She sent thrust my way without any prororing, launching a kind of attack I had never seen from her during the entirety of our scuffle. For her blade was afire, it unleashed a chillingly perfect strike. Was she actually...
私はあなたやベイほど爆発力を持ってないから。
Despite hearing my ears slightly nicked off, I dodged the attack by a hair's breadth and tried to regain my stance. However, her relentless barrage of thrusts left no room for such an opportunity. Each attack flashed with unprecedented speed, elegance, and ferocity, and a series of thrusts unleashed with the precision of a trained surgeon, so she really was.
見て、考えてはめるのよ。それが私の戦い方。器用貧乏だからね。
Aren't you speaking a bit too high of yourself?
演技か。
Her curved, simple swings were all blunts designed to lure me into a false sense of security.
全部が全部とは言わないけど。
Sakurai's lips curled in a teasing smirk.
そこは想像に任せるわ。女は秘密が多いのよ。
Her blade came extending towards me. She was aiming low for my feet.
殺さない。けど逃がさない。
We'll see about that. At this speed, emergency stop was out of the question, nor could I change directions. In short, there was no way for me to dodge.
ゲイカの戯れを正気で乗り越えられたら褒めてあげるわ、藤井君。じゃあね、終わりよ。
And that moment. Hey, that will be good. That will be good. An ominous feeling of discomfort assailed me out of nowhere, like I'd become a lab rat, a worthless creature trapped in a cage. No, that wasn't quite the best way to express it. It didn't feel like that at all. It was more like being an ant burned under a magnified glass, watched by someone whose very gaze unleashed heat rays. I somersaulted forward, bouncing off the surface of the water like a pebble. I no longer paid any heed to Sakurai's attacks, and instead struggled with all my might to escape that inexplicable gaze. I vaulted off the surface of the water as I tumbled down, and soon I found myself face to face with the steel frame of the bridge towering before me. Tapping the momentum I built up, I proceeded to dash up the bridge without a moment of hesitation. I could hear Sakurai's voice and feel her presence from behind as she came after me in pursuit. It then finally hit me that my shoulder had been wounded. She must have pierced it open during her previous attack. Not sure if I could call this a lucky break, but having an injury like this, no matter how severe it might be, still beat ending up completely dropped of my mobility. If anything, she was the least of my worries now. Yeah. Guess how freaking unpredictable you might be now, man. Well, because she doesn't know about the ice that you try to avoid. Anyway, my mind processed but one motion, dread. My whole body was under the control of a fundamental primal impulse, even though I hadn't been able to think straight for a while now, or rather, that was precisely why. The urge to flee, to run, to escape, to cast aside shame and pride, never turning back. Unless I did that. Unless I did, I'd be killed here tonight. However, a certain clingy fool was still hot in pursuit. She didn't matter one bit. I had no time to deal with her. Hadn't she noticed it? Couldn't she feel the sheer terror lurking behind the stare? That nigh irresistible lure towards death, like the merciless pull of a black hole. Sakurai, Wilhelm, and Rusalka were formidable opponents worthy to be feared. But they all paled in comparison to the master of this gaze. You know, that first option is very tempting, but the dude wants to escape the gaze, and I guess that means escaping from her as well, kind of. So, I'm not sure if it is a good idea, but you know, yeah, let's try it. Right, I cannot deal with her. I twist my body, forcing myself to take flight away from her torrent of slashes. I was aware of how absurd this exercise was. I ran straight up at a speed fast enough to shake off gravity, then took a sharp 90-degree turn to the right without so much as slowing down, causing the law of inertia to place its burden upon my whole body, my bones and flesh creaking under the strain. My body may have been far sturdier than the average humans, but it still had its limits. After screwing up my landing and tumbling out of the bridge, I needed a few seconds to take my next move. Sakurai's calm counterattack followed her declaration. Deceleration, not declaration, deceleration, concealed my own action, leaving me in no better a position than before. What could I do? Sakurai had openings, nor could I lure. Okay, I'm pretty sure she had openings, nor could I lure her into showing any. In that case, damn it, was this really my only choice? Sakurai gave me a puzzled look for a moment, and I could hardly blame her. Normally, no one would be crazy enough to do this. I'd taken a crouching start, the stance used to at track and field events, capable of exhibiting the highest amount of speed at the shortest possible time. In other words, a frontal breakthrough, with no planning whatsoever. The bridge was one straight line, so if I rammed into her with a touching tug, all I had left to do was keep on going and leave her in the dust.
なるほど。
She shoot a stare glare in my direction. She might have realized what I was up to. No, this couldn't be the case. No one would expect me to just try and make a run for it in this situation.
一見無茶なようで理にかなってる。確かにそれなら一撃の爆発力がものを言うから。でもね藤井君、分かってる？狙い撃ちにされるってことが。
Yeah, of course I did. Charging at her with all my might was solely an offensive maneuver. I had nothing in the way of defense. In other words, it was like begging for her to counterattack.
悪いけど、手加減できそうにないわよ。
No one is afraid of you, right? I mean, come on, we are afraid of the ice. Pretty sure that's the freaking number 1 of the table. Sakurai held her sword at the ready, lowering her hips, narrowing her eyes, and assuming. But by the way, you do realize that the bridge has 2 ends, kind of. I mean, can you call it ends or well, whatever. It has 2 ends, so you can do that running start the other side around. Sure, you will have your back open, but if you run fast enough, you probably are able to avoid everything, and yeah. If you made the start at the same time also destroying the bridge where you're standing, I'd already mastered most of my strength, so I couldn't turn around and flee. All I had left to do was keep on moving forward and forward without stopping. I knew I'd never overcome the fear in my heart with half-assed attempt at fleeing. Far beyond the point of goosebumps, I had shivers running down my spine without end. Spine is similar to Spinne. While still feeling that inexplicable gaze boring down me, I want to shout my true feelings at the world at large. Which was why I mobilized every fiber of my being to escape this place as soon as possible, otherwise I'd... Well, Mari, I'm sorry, but please lend me your power. I shot forward like a speeding bullet, the piercing air of my war cry washing my fear clean away. Sakurai's blade moved ever so slightly before slowly shifting to clean, sickeningly perfect arc to intercept me. The sheer elegance of her strike would have no doubt drawn praise from all who witnessed it. She was pretty damn skilled, I give her that, but I also remembered what she had said earlier. My strong point lay in my destructive power. She may have been a jack of all trades, but at times that would only prove to be one's undoing against an opponent with a clear-cut and thoroughly outstanding single specialty. Mari's very soul dwelt within this blade. If Sakurai genuinely thought she could shatter it, she was welcome to try. Sakurai's flash of a strike hit me in the right flank, after which she swung upwards with the intention of severing my whole arm, weapon and all. But the difference in our speed, wave mass, and strength of our souls allowed me to knock the tip of her sword in another direction. Sakurai's expression turned to a mask of impending death, but there was nothing more I could do. I had reached my current limit, my speed and power were effective in repelling Sakurai's attack, but I didn't have the composure, nor the ability to follow it up with a finishing strike. Once I knocked her away with my tackle, I no longer paid any heed to Sakurai. Making a run for it was my best option. Now was it? I mean, a few of those attacks and you probably would be able to win actually. I feel like he really is more powerful here. I let out a shout of relief and elation, knowing that my gamble had paid off. All I had left to do was get out here as fast as I possibly could. But just then, someone blocked my way. Who was it? A real person? That felt the most likely, given how I didn't notice they were even here. If it was Wilhelm or Rusalka, I would have sensed them one way or another. Shit, I couldn't stop now. Whoever it was, they likely wouldn't make it out of here in one piece if I crashed into them. My eyes widened at the horror of killing an innocent person, but then my body fell forward with an ear-splitting roar. The recoil knocked my feet in the air, and the asphalt exploded as though I crushed in a lump of steel. I couldn't breathe, nor could I see. A single finger counterbalanced the high-speed kinetic energy that knocked even Sakurai down with ease. I had been attacked. I was merely stopped with a poke to the chest.
洞察力が足りませんね、レオンハルト。
You got to be in that
彼は逃
bastard!
げる気だったのですよ。それさえ読めていれば別の手もあったでしょうに。まあよい。よくやりました。
Upon hearing the gentle, soothing voice, I couldn't match it up to the person in my memories. I didn't want to.
しかしまあ、あなたは大したものだ、藤井さん。もはや生け捕りなどという半端では手に負いかねるということですか。素晴らしい。
生産杯ゲか。
He knew my name, Sakurai uttered his, and it remained an undeniable fact that he had stopped me with little to no effort. An abrupt onset of confusion cooled my seething mind. As the whirlpool of fear that once raged within me evaporated, I began to slowly regain my composure. But even still, much like the grenades that cast me, my go-to reaction was to withdraw into complete denial.
違う、そんなことが。
That just couldn't be true. Yet, as my vision began to return, my hopes were shattered to pieces.
さて、それでは戯れ遊びも終わりです。改めて自己紹介をいたしましょう。私の名は生産杯、清掃13騎士団黒煙卓第3位、狩猟代行バレリア・トリファー、クリストフ・ローエン・グリーン。あなたの父祖に等しい我が死からは、よこしまなる聖人などと呪いを賜った男ですよ。
In other words, this man did everything from Kazumi Kimura could even connect to this whole goddamn mess.
では、今より開戦といたしましょうか。
I was left completely paralyzed in the face of such a tremendously powerful foe. Alright, before we return to this freaking battle, let's end the episode. And I'll see you in the next one. We'll find out what happened with well, basically the person that is freaking vampire killer. Wait, vampire killing weapon, you could say, and the guy with the gun. We'll see. Hopefully Shiro wins. Anywho, hope you enjoyed it. Shorter episode compared to the last ones, I believe, but has to be done. So it's my fault I lasered out earlier and I won't continue because of that. It's 4 AM. Yeah. I'm so dumb. Alright. See you tomorrow then. Bye bye.